I had to go live today because I had the craziest and best download last night. So I wanted to go ahead and just like get it to you while I had it in my brain before the exhaustion from the lack of sleep sends me out. So basically, hi Ronald. So basically what happened was this whole video is going to basically be about how to navigate the void or the in between when you're like you know that you're not the person that you used to be, but you're not really the person who you know that you want to be or who you are, and it's like trying to figure out like who that is or what that is or like, how to change or what you're supposed to do because nothing that you usually like or do is making sense, right? And it's very confusing and it's very disorienting, and I feel like a lot of people are going through it. So if you are going through that too, definitely comment below. And I will be doing a deeper dive post on step by steps on how to be able to handle this when my magazine launches next Friday. Next Friday on the new moon in Aries. Okay. So I apologize for how like non-linear this might be just because I'm delirious on lack of sleep. So here's how it happened. I've been going through the void for, I'm going to be honest with you, it's probably been like 2 years. Okay. That's a long time. Um, I just happen to be someone who is like, is hyper independent and over function. So I just have a lot of executive function and have to do all these things. And again, that's part of my old identity, but here we are. So, it's been coming to a close now, where I'm like, all right, I know I started realizing like, okay, I'm like, I know that being a performer isn't working. I know that content creating and being an influencer isn't working. And I'm like, but what is the thing? What is the thing? And like, even going through all of my birth charts and stuff, it had been really difficult to be like, oh, wow, yeah, I'm like an authority figure, but like, what does that even mean? Like, what is that going to get me what I want? And like, how do I know? Right. So there's this discord. So last night I went to bed around midnight and I woke up at 2 a.m., like not even understanding why. And I tried to go back to sleep, but I couldn't. And I was up until 6 a.m. And then I'm like running on like 4 hours of sleep right now. So what happened though was I was sitting there and I was like trying to think to myself, I was like, okay, well, why are all these things happening? Like, how come this isn't making sense? Like, why is it that I feel like, and then I was just like, fuck this. I was like, can you please just give me clarity? My human brain, the ego brain, I just need to understand. Okay. I don't even need this to be solved right now because I've been in the void for so long. I'm just kind of like, well, I guess we're here. But like, what, why is this happening? What is the void about? Why do I need to be here? What exactly? Just help my ego brain understand, because once I understand what's occurring, then I can just go through the process. Like you could just kind of have to deal with it and go with it. But then once I get it, then it's not like it just makes sense, right? And then you just deal with it. So, luckily, after I said that, moments later, the clarity came through like immediately. And so basically, it was breaking down the fact that the void is the place where you get stripped of all of your false identities, false purposes, false actions, beliefs, systems, all of that garbage. All of the shit that is not you, that is what gets destroyed. It gets removed. That's why the void is painful, quote unquote, because it's literally ripping you of everything that has been blocking you from actually becoming the person that you actually are. So let me backtrack a little bit, because basically this goes under the fact that you incarnated. So you have to assume that you are a human being having a spiritual experience, which means you are a soul that incarnated into this human body to learn certain things, to have certain experiences so you can ascend and evolve, right? So that's just the baseline truth. So I'm sure you've heard this if you've done any kind of like research into this type of stuff, is that when you incarnated into this particular human body that you are seeing right now, you forget, like they wipe your memory of who you actually are as a spiritual being, what your soul is, what your purpose is, and what your powers are, because part of this like thing that you signed up for, this human experience, is remembering it again. So this isn't about trying to build something that has never been created before or trying to like pick an identity that you think would be really cool. It is actually about remembering, coming back home to who you fucking are. Like that unshakable truth that you know with every fiber of your being is you, right? Like, for example, if someone was like, your name is Tabitha, I'd be like, no, bitch, you're wrong. Like, look at the thing. It says Alicia. That's my fucking name. Like, ChatGPT or any AI or any person could be like, you're wrong. Your name is Tabitha. And I'd be like, no, it's not. And I don't care. And I don't have to fight with you over it. I just know with every fiber of my being that this lifetime, my name is Alicia. That's it. That's it. That is the kind of certainty that the void offers you. So here's what's interesting. So I was sitting there and I was like, okay, but like, how do you manifest in the void? How do you get what you want in the void? How do you come out of the void? Like, because when you've been in it for 2 fucking years, yeah, it's a slog. It's a slog. It fucking sucks. I don't know how else to describe it, right? Um, like I've been crying a lot for no fucking reason. Well, actually, there's a reason. But it's like, for example, I cry every single day recently, whenever I sit down at the breakfast table to eat dinner. And I realized the only reason why I'm crying, like I just can't help it, is because it's the only time that I actually give myself permission to not do something. It sounds crazy, I know. But again, hyper independent, over like executive overfunction, right? And so the crying is the somatic release of the grief that I like to just shove down into a box and like not deal with, because I'm like, we have shit to do. I don't have time to sit there and cry. I need to just go. So it's grieving, it is the sadness, it is the, oh wow, I actually don't have to burn myself out in order to get what I want. That's another thing, another key piece of wisdom. Clock it, lock it, put it in your pocket, which is that oh my god, it just left my mind. Bitch, come back. This is what happens. Um, you do not need to bleed for your blessings. I'm going to say that again with so much love in my heart because I needed someone to tell me this. Thank you, spirit team. You do not need to bleed for your blessings. This whole hustle culture, you got to work really hard. You got to hustle. You got to put in your 100,000 hours in order to be a master of your fucking craft. Da 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 da. That, no, you don't. Actually, you don't. Actually, you don't have to suffer in order to get your blessings. You just need alignment. But what is alignment? Alignment is not the absence of action. It's not just like rest to receive. It is about the absence of resistance, right? It is like the absence of the part of you that says, well, I can't have $1 million, or I can't make $1 million, or like there's no way I could be a millionaire. Like look at my bank account, or I'm so stressed, or I have all whatever the fuck is, right? That's resistance, right? That's where you're not in alignment. So that's what you have to get rid of. And then that's where the whole law of attraction, law of assumption, Delulu, Neville, Goddard bullshit fucking camp is going to tell you. And sorry, not sorry for saying that it's bullshit because it's valid, but hear me out. It only helps you get superficial tools to address the symptoms of resistance, but it doesn't help you get to the core root cause of where the resistance came from. And that's why some people like love Abraham Hicks, because they have very little resistance. And so when they get rid of the resistance, they attract what they want. Or in the Delulu and the quantum leaping and the blah, 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 and just like, acting as if blah, blah, blah. Some people can get it like this because they have little to no resistance in what they're choosing to align with, right? And so if you have a hard time with it, if you're like, yeah, I want to do that, but I've listened to the subliminals for like, I don't know, 3 months straight and my life didn't change. Well, guess what? You're not wrong. You didn't do anything wrong. You just were not hitting it at the core part, the core source of your resistance. And the core source of your resistance is a mismatch in your identity. All right. I'm going to go a lot deeper into that in another post. But basically, to make a very long story short, okay, so if you imagine like concentric circles going out, your identity dictates everything. All right. So basically your if you want to go outside in, okay, your actions are like, so your 3D reality, the amount of money that you have in your bank account, the weight that you are, the size that you are, the kind of clothes that you have, all of this 3D stuff is literally a result of your actions, right? You take actions and you get shit. What so your actions are a result of your thoughts are a result of your beliefs are a result of your morals, values, integrity, right? Your morals, values, and integrity are a result of your urges, your carnal desires and urges, your primal desires are a result of your subconscious, and your subconscious is a result of what? Your motherfucking identity, right? So if you are in a lack identity, then that means that you're if you're in lack, right? If you're like, oh, I can't do this, I'm really poor, I'm really scared, I don't know, la, 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 because it is scary right now. We've got wars happening, we've got, unstable governments, we've got all of this stuff occurring, right? Like it's like watching a car crash like in slow motion and you can't stop it. Um, so it's valid, but that lack identity is going to cause you to have a subconscious that is always going to look for lack. And then the subconscious is therefore going to create desires for you to only want what? You want the money, you want the things, you want the lavish lifestyle, you want to be a real housewife on Beverly Hills or whatever the fuck, right? You want all the things because you think it's going to cure your lack, right? But because of your lack, you're going to have morals, values, and beliefs that are going to be all about lack. It's hard to find money. Money is evil. Money slips through my fingers. I can't catch a break. Like it's so hard. I don't have what it takes. They have more assets than I do. Like I don't have, you get it, right? And then that's going to create thoughts that are like, well, I can't afford that. I can't afford that. That's so expensive. And so then as a result of that, the actions that you take are, oh, well, I can only buy things on sale, or I'm just going to put it on my credit card, or like, I'm not going to be like, financially literate, or like I can't do that. Well, I can only do this job, right? And therefore the actions that you take are going to be actions that keep you in lack, right? Whereas if you had your true identity, right, and abundant, prosperous, you know that you have the power to be able to create whatever the fuck you want to create because you're a spiritual being just having a human experience, and you can like tap into your actual powers that you actually came here with. Then all of a sudden, when for example, you're Alicia fucking Ying, okay, or like first name, fucking last name, right? You're the motherfucking boss. When you realize that, then you're like, oh, of course I'm wealthy and abundant because the universe always provides for me. What are you talking about? I can wield this shit. I can always figure it out. I always know. So when you have this knowingness that you can create the wealth and abundance that you want, then of course your subconscious is wired to look for all the wealthy opportunities, to look for all the abundant opportunities, so that when it comes, you say yes to that opportunity instead of saying no, right? Um, and you're going to go where your intuition leads you. You're going to have different morals and values and beliefs where you say money is just neutral. Money is something that is always going to find me, because the universe always gives me the support and supplies and resources that I need in order to fulfill my mission. So why am I fucking worried about it? Because that's just how it is. Like, I'm always wealthy, I'm always abundant, right? So then your beliefs are going to then dictate your thoughts, which is like, oh yeah, wealth always is around me. I don't even have to work that hard. I'm always in flow. And then therefore you're going to take the aligned actions that get you that wealth and abundance in your 3D reality, right? So this kind of work though is difficult. To switch your identity, and I want to make it clear, switching your identity or getting to your core identity of who you truly are is not depression. It's not a traumatic event. It's not going through a hard time. And it's not going through the stages of life. People will mistake that for identity changing, but it's not. When you are uncovering your identity at your core and switching, for example, from lack to wealth or to who you truly are, that shit is fucking disorienting and destabilizing as fuck, because everything that you know, everything that you knew for your entire life gets fucking wiped out. And like, it's like everything that you thought was true is all of a sudden not true. Like, you're like, oh my God, my name isn't Alicia fucking Ying. It's blah, 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 or whatever it is. And you're like, how did I not see this? It would be like, obviously I'm Asian, right? But it would be like, oh my God, I was white this whole time. And now I realize I'm like Asian, and I'm like it's disorienting, right? It's like really fucking disorienting. And you're like, okay, all right, now I gotta I know now that that's false. Like, I'm not a lack person. So now I got to detangle and erase and remove all of these false notions, these false ideas that honestly got passed down to you by your family, by your parents, by your ancestors, by society, by culture, by your friends, like by who you surround yourself with. So it's not all your fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, society conditioned us, for example, to overconsume because capitalism just wants to make money. So they will do whatever it takes in order for you to buy their shit, right? So yes, because I saw this on a Reddit and it was like, well, it's like, it's only up to me. And like, if I don't want to buy stuff, or if I want to stop overconsumption, it is a me problem and if for only me to handle. And I actually kind of disagree with that. Yes, people need to take more responsibility for what they're actually buying, but it reminds me of the movie Ever After with Drew Barrymore. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but there's this part where she's quoting Utopia, and it's like, I'm paraphrasing, but basically it's like, well, what can we deduce is that you make thieves and then punish them. Like, if the king or the government or the president is creating a society or creating a culture that breeds overconsumption and then causes the people to be poor because they're buying shit that they don't fucking need, and then causing all of this excess waste and causing all of the world, like, the earth to like basically just get trampled on, and we're not respecting it, and then causing all of these global issues so that this isn't a good environment to live in anymore, and then you punish the people for buying the things and ruining the environment that which you created, then yes, the people need to become more aware so that they have more critical thinking, but also it was part of your conditioning since you were born. So what I'm saying is, on a personal level, don't beat yourself so much for over consuming. I am so guilty of that, and I've been on a low buy this year. I thought I was going to be on a no buy, but I've been on a low buy. Um and it is hard when you're normally like, retail therapy is a valid form of therapy. Yeah, it fucking is. Dopamine is a real thing, but dopamine is different from satisfaction and peace. Dopamine does not give you satisfaction. Satisfaction, as a definition, I believe in the Oxford Dictionary, is fulfilling one's own needs and desires. And I think there's like a religious thing too, like you fulfill like your contract with God when you have like sinned or some shit like that. I don't know. Anyway, whatever. But the point is that like satisfaction, I'll say this, the dopamine, the quick hit is buying the thing or finding the thing on sale or scoring that 99 cents deal at Goodwill. The satisfaction is using that item on a daily basis and being like, I love sipping out of this water bottle. I love it. Like, oh my God, it makes me so happy. It fulfills that desire of like something pretty, something functional, but also something cute. Let's just say for an example, okay? Does that make any sense? Is everyone like tracking with what I'm saying? So, the main things that I wanted to get out in this nonsensical way before I like die of exhaustion is the fact that, and my brain just stops functioning, is the fact that there's two different kinds of magic, let's just say, or manifesting tools. There's the solar or light way, right? The light workers, right? Where it's just like love and light and like raise your vibration and like law of attraction, law of assumption, like the Delulu is the Salulu, right? So that's one. And that's about attracting, that's about creating. And then there's lunar void magic, because I don't really want to say dark magic, but like lunar or void magic and manifesting. And that shit is the shit that I think gets talked about a lot less, has a bad rap, gets misconstrued, because that stuff is the shadow work. It is the destroying and destruction and removal of all of the false things that cause your nervous system to get all up in arms when you are trying to reprogram yourself, right? Because I get it, like the nervous system is real. And so even if you do try to do something out of your comfort zone that is going to give you the wealth and abundance, that can be exhausting or triggering, and your heart starts racing and you're like, oh my God, I can't do this. And so you basically create more resistance. But the nervous system is not the root cause of your misalignment or of your resistance. It's your identity. And your identity, those false identities, can only be destroyed permanently, honestly, in the void, in the dark. That's why Neville Goddard has to do, or other people have to do these like deep meditations, getting into that lucid state, having to be in that like liminal space, because they have to try and access the void, right? In a way where they're like, oh yeah, he was just tapping into who he already was as a spiritual being. He wasn't creating something or pretending to be something that he wasn't. Do you see the difference? Do you see the distinction? If you do, like, comment, but like, or if you need me to explain it in another way with another analogies when my brain is working more functionally, then let me know. Um, but the lunar void magic or manifestations is, it's almost like, it's almost like discovering your fate and your real true destiny. And when you really understand, because it's fixed, right? And I got pissed because I'm like, how do you change your fate? How do you change your fate? Because your birth chart says this, right? Like your birth chart says something, that is who you are. Whether you like it or not, that's who you are, right? We can go into the astrology thing and a whole other thing, because astrology is like only a weather forecast. It is not your fucking destiny. It is completely different. So we'll get into that other topic in another time. However, you have to understand that like there is a reason why you came here. There's a reason why you chose this family. There's a reason why you chose to have these experiences. There's a reason why, like for example, for me, I wanted to be an actress and wanted to pop off when I was young, just like Britney, but that was not my destiny. It is not my fate. It says so in my birth chart. Like it's so obvious. And whether I like it or not, that's not my problem, right? Like I can bitch and scream and moan about it, but the fates don't give a fuck. They're like, this is who you are, this is what you're meant to do, and this is how you're going to do it. And it's not because they are having any like they're not lording over you saying like we're more powerful than you, or we're determining it more for you, like Christianity or whatever. This is more so about the fact that you chose to do this. You chose to come here. You chose to make a difference. You chose to become a visionary leader that incarnated at this time in order to understand what was wrong with the system so that you could create a better system that would actually work and actually function and actually make sure that you could end world hunger, for example, and actually have world peace and actually have everyone live in prosperity and in a real paradise together, like harmoniously, right? Like where it's community over uh capitalism, where it is more about the people versus the profits. Everyone should be profitable, but like the profit shouldn't be over the people. Look at the guy, look at the miffed employee, the disgruntled employee that set fire to the fucking toilet paper place in Ontario, California, and burnt down the whole fucking place, right? Like on one hand, you're like, bro, he shouldn't have done that. But then on another hand, you're like, maybe his soul was like, he needed to start like showing that when you start to pinch the people that made you fucking rich, this shit starts to happen because they just want to have an honest living and be able to put food on the table and have a roof over their head. Like, I'm not saying that's the best way to handle it, okay? But what I'm saying is this has happened multiple times in fucking history. It's not like this is the first time that this has happened. Do you see what I'm saying? So, when so let's get to the point of this last part and then I guess I'll go. But when you're navigating the void, I encourage you to let the things go that are getting removed. And you'll know that they're getting removed because like your friends, you're just going to be like, "Oh, that's a red flag. Oh, I don't do that anymore. Nope, I'm not going to be everyone's caretaker anymore. I'm not going to allow this toxic, romantic partner of mine to dictate what I can and cannot do anymore." Like you all of a sudden start to realize, and then people, you know what I mean? You'll get into fights. I mean, hey, it's Aries season. Mars just entered Aries. Like people are going to be peopling. And so yes, go and speak your truth. Like, share your gifts, like say, this is who I am. These are my boundaries. This is what I'm about. If you want to play, let's go. But if not, like, that's fine. Just like, thank you next. Right. And like some people are not going to be able to meet you on your level. And so when you are really discovering who you truly are, your standards will change. And you'll be like, yeah, I don't fuck with that shit anymore. I don't fuck with people who are expecting me to carry them across the finish line and like just ride my coattails without giving to me in return. I am not going to sit here and date someone who is going to expect me to do all of the emotional labor and the, physical labor and all of this shit, and I don't get anything in return. You can go suck a dick and die for all I care, right? Like you will start to realize that, like, whether you wear makeup or not, who cares? Are you doing it for the male gaze or not? Who cares? Right? You start to have this sense of your own morals and values. Now, here's the thing though, it's not being selfish, because I think there's a difference between being self-centered and self-care. There's a very, very big difference. And I think a lot of people who have been on the people pleasers situations, which again, I feel you've had narcissistic parents. I had narcissistic parents, but you go through this phase where it's like you then are like, I'm emancipated. I'm going to go no contact. I'm not going to deal with them anymore. But then you start treating people the way that your narcissistic parents treated you. And so you're now perpetuating the problem, and then you don't realize it. And then you're like, why are my friends not talking to me anymore? And it's like, well, probably because you're being a selfish little brat. And like, I know for me, like, I don't do brat energy anymore. I don't do victim energy anymore. Um, I don't really tolerate martyr energy, and I don't do like Karen energy. Like, I just, may you have the day that you deserve. No, I'm just kidding. But not kidding. But like, also, karma is a real thing, right? And we can go into karma too, as well. Not now, because that's another side quest. Tell me you have ADHD without telling me you have ADHD with severe exhaustion. So the TLDR is this: how do you navigate the void? You navigate the void by understanding, number one, that it is meant to, while it feels isolating, while it feels awful and depressing and you can't find a way out, number one, there is a light at the end of the tunnel because I saw it. Number two, it's actually meant to help you discover your true full power and who you truly are. And that shit is so wildly liberating and empowering, and is what truly makes you sovereign. And the craziest part about that kind of like magic or manifesting is that when you take the time to do the void work, the lunar work, that's when you manifest effortlessly. You don't have to do rituals. You don't have to do spells. You don't have to listen to subliminals. You don't have to LOA it, Law of Assumption it, Delulu it, Neville Goddard it, whatever the fuck it is, because you just know. And then when you just declare and decide something, like when I was like, I just need some fucking clarity, please. I just need to fucking understand. Can you just help me understand? That's literally what I said. And literally, like that. And I was writing all of this down in my journal, right? So, like, I have receipts. So then you become unfuckwithable because you're like, yeah, of course I always get rock star parking. Of course I'm always at the right place at the right time doing the right thing. Of course I'm always divinely directed and protected. Of course I'm always going to know what to do next. Like, even if I don't know how to get from here to all the way up there, I do know the next step to take. And I know the general route. But like, if there's turbulence, okay, we move left. Okay, well, there's a rock there. Okay, great. We'll move right. Okay, well, here's a barricade. Okay, we'll go over it. Oh, okay, well, here we'll dig under. Like, whatever, right? But we will get there. So I think that if you are able to be comfortable enough with confronting all of that shadow work, but like destroying and like and like removing these false notions and beliefs, you will feel so much better. It will be lonely at first because your life has been surrounded by people that liked your false identity, that liked you when you were subservient, that liked you when you didn't know what you're doing, that liked you when you were bending over backwards to help them, right? Like, they benefited from that. The people who will stay by you are the ones who will love you for who you truly are, right? Like, I'll give you an example. I have this friend of mine who I've known for over 15 years, and he has seen me go through the gamut, right? And when I was the false personality, and when I am like in my real personality. And it's interesting because, like, listen, if you go and like scroll through my TikToks, right? I'm the sweet singing psychic Disney princess, because the Disney princess, is accessible. It's palatable. It is what the world wants me to be, but it's not really who I am. Now, don't get me wrong. I still obviously love Disney princesses, I guess. Now, I don't know. I like them. They're cool. But the depth of who I truly am is different from like fucking Ariel. Okay, that bitch is dumb. Love her, but like, she's 16. Like, what are we doing here? Okay. So, love her, love the songs, but like, so you just have to understand, like, for example, when I am fired up and I'm talking about this stuff and talking about the darkness and talking about the depth, or in other posts, I'll be talking about dark magic and how to wield that and how to make sure that justice is served, spiritually and energetically. Some people are going to be like, oh no, that's not ethical. That's not right. You shouldn't do that. Like, da 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 da. Like, returning to sender is bad. It just like continues the evolution of bad energy. And they just don't understand the depth, right? So I will go over all of that. So that's a whole other live stream as well. I'll be talking more about it on my podcast too. But yeah, okay, that makes sense. Okay, questions. Does anyone have any questions before I log off? Because I think that's all I had to say. Is that all I had to say? Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh, and also, this is my new little like incantation, although they're like, you really don't have to say it. It's fucking performative at this point. But because now, again, because I've been sloughing through this, I can just basically be like, can you just please give me some understanding? Okay. Is there anything else that I need to share with them right now? No, you've shared enough. Okay, great. So, but just for fun, if you wanted to try it, what I like to say, because it just helps me, when I'm not feeling in it or whatever, is like, ancestors, primordials, powers that be, deliver me the clarity that I truly need. Show me exactly what I need to know to ascend, evolve, flourish, and grow. And I think that when you do that, you will always be given the intel that you need to ascend, evolve, flourish, and grow, because we want to thrive. We don't want to just survive. So that's what I say. Um, and I think also the one last pro tip that I wanted to tell you is that when you're in the void and how to navigate the void, really pay attention to your body, because your body is going to tell you what you need to handle on the spiritual level, like the shit that you need to like that needs to be removed. So I'll give you an example. um like my right rotator cuff definitely either got torn or whatever. It's hella painful. Okay. And the right arm is my dominant arm, but it's also the yang part of the body, right? The left is the yin, the right is the yang. And so um the shoulder, Louise Hay, how to, heal your life. um the shoulder is all about burdens that you carry. So what are you shouldering that is not yours to shoulder? What is the responsibilities that you are taking that are getting too heavy? What are you trying to reach for in the future that you are scared to reach for? What are you not willing to let go of? These are all the questions that will highlight the misalignment or the resistance or the dis-ease, the unease in your spiritual body. So those are the false narratives that you need to get rid of and destroy. And once you do that, then this will heal, right? Yes. Like if you need to go to the doctor, take the Tylenol, do the physical therapy exercises, like handle it on a physical level, but essentially it will go away forever if you handle those things. The other thing is like I'm retaining water like a crazy person. Like my hands are just like are so swollen right now. And but I did get a download for that. So it's like um part of it, there was one reason, but I can't I keep on forgetting it. But there's two reasons. But one reason is because like I'm craving salt, okay? And then I'm drinking like like my fucking body weight in water. So I'm craving the salt because the salt can go in and absorb or suck out all of these false narratives, or just basically, when you destroy something and you're like basically like doing demolition on a house, you've got like the rubble and the concrete and like all the dust everywhere. So the salt is sucking up all of that debris so that I can pee it out and it can physically leave my system. So if you are feeling those things, it's normal. Like that's just kind of how it works. So anyway, any questions? I hope that that was helpful. I will post this. Um but I will also go live more and talk more about this in a more succinct way. in my magazine because so if you want to get excited and if you haven't done so already, you can subscribe for free to my Substack. I've already renamed it, and from Align with Alicia to the Oracle Edit, which is going to be my new Cosmo Worthy spiritual magazine. But even as I have been going through my identity shift, I feel like this is, yes, it's like Cosmo Worthy, but it's also like Break Bill's University from the TV show The Magicians meets Kamartaj from Doctor Strange. So, if you're wanting to really understand how to deal with all of this stuff, how to actually get your identity, your real true self locked in, know what your real powers and gifts are, know what legacy you were born destined to create and leave behind, that's the fun shit that we'll get into. So it's like not just this law of attraction light shit. It's like we're gonna go deep and we're gonna go in and we're gonna fix it, because when you fix it at the core, then you won't have all these fucking bullshit lessons to deal with, or like the stuff that we just don't like. Does that make any sense? So I hope that helps. Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you have any questions, if you're like, oh wait, you touched on this, can you explain this more in another video, like comment below and I will definitely do a follow-up. All right. I love you to the moon and back. Thank you so much for watching. I promise I'm going to be going live more soon. You're amazing. You've got this. And I believe in you. The universe believes in you. You just need to believe in you and go fucking deal with this shit at the source. Because when you can, I swear to God, it's so funny. I used to think that the love and light was all it, and it's just not. It's just not. The void, the dark, like the lunar stuff is, I hate to put it this way, but it's so much more powerful and it is so much more liberating. But with power comes great responsibility. So wield that power with love through discernment. I've got a post on that coming up, but I'll leave that there right now. Okay. All right. So, if you want to claim all this in the comments, repeat after me. I am ready to reveal my true identity, I guess. Or if you want it more simply, I am ready to motherfucking rise. So go in there, get that shit done. Um, and if you can get it done before the new moon in Aries on next Friday, because that's when the new year will really begin and you're going to start to see things really, really start to ramp up. Okay. So you've got this. I love you. And I will see you all in the next video. All right. Mwah. Bye. Ooh, how do I stop this?